Hey everyone, it's Ms. Spencer. Today we'll be doing numerical and written expressions. Today's objective is students will be able to write expressions when they are represented in numerical form and write numerical expressions when they are represented in written form. Let's start with reviewing the order of operations. Remember when deciding which operation to do first in an expression or equation, we want to use gems. This tells us which operation to complete first. The G stands for grouping symbols, such as parentheses or brackets. The E stands for exponents, such as 10 to the power of 2. The M stands for multiplication and division. If there's both in the expression or equation, you complete them from left to right, just as if you're reading a sentence. Finally, the S stands for subtraction and addition. Once again, if you have both in the same expression or equation, you complete them from left to right, just as if you were reading a sentence. Let's get started. Here on the written form side, we see 4 times the sum of 12 and 8. Well, here, 4 times, we know times is multiplication. So we're going to be multiplying 4 times something. The sum is the answer to an addition problem. So we're going to be multiplying 4 times the answer to 12 and 8. If we're going to be multiplying 4 times the answer to an addition problem, we need to be doing the addition first. In order to do the addition first, we need to put 12 and 8 in parentheses. So 4 times the sum of 12 and 8 is 4 times, and then in parentheses, 12 plus 8. Let's try another one. The sum of 6 and 4 times the difference between 25 and 5. Well, here, the sum, once again, is the answer to an addition problem. So we need to be finding the answer first to 6 plus 4. And then it says times, so we'll be multiplying the answer to that addition problem times the difference. The difference means that we're getting the answer to a subtraction problem. So we'll be subtracting 25 and 5. So we need to first find the answer to 6 plus 4. So we need to put these in parentheses. And then we'll be finding the answer to 25 minus 5. Finally, we'll multiply both of these answers together. So we have in parentheses 6 plus 4, and then times, in parentheses again, 25 minus 5. Now let's do half the difference between 18 and 8. Well, here we can do this in a couple ways. Half, we know, is multiplying by 1/2 or dividing by 2. Each of these will get us half of an answer. Well, the difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. So we're going to be finding the answer to 18 minus 8, and then we'll be finding half of that answer. So here we have 18 minus 8 first in parentheses, and then we'll divide by 2. Or we can do 18 minus 8 first in parentheses and multiply that answer by 1/2. Either way, we'll get the same answer. All right, now we're going to be rewriting the written expressions as numerical expressions. Then we'll solve. Let's remember to use gems. So here we have 24 divided by the sum of 4 and 2. So 24 divided by, all right, well, that means we'll be using division in this problem. 24 divided by the sum is the answer to an addition problem. So we know we'll be adding the sum of, so we're going to be adding 4 and 2. We need to get the answer to 4 plus 2 first, and then we can divide 24 by that answer. So we need to make sure 4 and 2 are in parentheses. So here we have 24 divided by the sum of 4 and 2. Well, remember, gems, we start with G for grouping symbols. Here we have 4 plus 2 in our grouping symbols or parentheses. That means we'll do that first. 4 plus 2 is 6. So now we have 24 divided by 6. There are no exponents in this problem, so we're going to move on to the M for multiplication and division. We do have division here, 24 divided by 6, which equals 4. So our answer is 4. Let's try the next one. The difference between 26 and 5 tenths and 6 and 5 tenths times the sum of 3 and 4 tenths and 1 and 6 tenths. Let's see, the difference is the answer to a subtraction problem. That means we'll be subtracting 26 and 5 tenths and 6 and 5 tenths. Well, we need to get that answer first, so we're going to put those in parentheses. Times means we're multiplying. The sum is addition, and we'll be adding 3 and 4 tenths and 1 and 6 tenths. Well, remember, the sum is the answer to an addition problem. So we need to then find the answer to 3 and 4 tenths and 1 and 6 tenths before we can multiply both of these answers together. So here, and let me just remove all of our markings, we have 26 and 5 tenths minus 6 and 5 tenths times 3 and 4 tenths plus 1 and 6 tenths. So let's solve. Starting with our grouping symbols, we see that there's two sets of grouping symbols or parentheses. So we're going to start with the parentheses or grouping symbols on the left. 26 and 5 tenths minus 6 and 5 tenths is 20. Now we can solve what's inside the second set of grouping symbols or parentheses, 3 and 4 tenths plus 1 and 6 tenths, which is 5. Here we see we have no exponents, so we can move on to the m for multiplication and division. We do have multiplication, 20 times 5, which is 100. Now let's try half the difference between 18 and 25 hundredths and 8 and 25 hundredths. Remember, half can be represented as multiplying by 1/2 or dividing by 2. Either one is fine. The difference is the answer to a subtraction problem, and we can see we're subtracting 18 and 25 hundredths minus 8 and 25 hundredths. So we'll find that answer first and then find half of that answer. So here we have 18 and 25 hundredths and 8 and 25 hundredths in parentheses, and then we're going to divide that answer by 2. Starting with G and GEMS, which stands for grouping symbols, we do see we have a set of grouping symbols. So we're going to do what's inside those parentheses first. 18 and 25 hundredths minus 8 and 25 hundredths is 10, and then divided by 2. There are no exponents, so we're going to move on to the M for multiplication and division. There is division here. 10 divided by 2 is 5. Now we're going to do our last one. Triple the sum of 24 and 3 tenths and 7 tenths. Well, triple means times 3. We're multiplying something times 3. The sum is the answer to an addition problem. So we're finding the answer to 24 and 3 tenths plus 7 tenths. To find that answer first, we need to put those in parentheses. And then once we solve that portion, we can multiply the answer times 3. So we have 3 times the sum of 24 and 3 tenths and 7 tenths. Here we do see that we have grouping symbols. So let's do the addition that's inside the parentheses first. 24 and 3 tenths plus 7 tenths is 25. So now we have 3 times 25. There are no exponents, but we do have multiplication. So we're going to multiply 3 times 25, which is 75.